Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and I am not here at the moment. I'm up there, basically on my way to Canada for the World Sudoku Championship, and really looking forward to meeting a lot of the greats of the game, I want to call it, of the genre perhaps, and yeah, looking forward to some fun times in Toronto. So the World Sudoku Championship happens on Monday and Tuesday. Then there's a rest day, I think, on Wednesday, sightseeing. And then Thursday, Friday, and some of Saturday is the World Puzzle Championship, all the pencil puzzles that have lasted longer than Sudoku. But I shall only stay for the first half of the week. But I'm really looking forward to it. And last year's performance was a fluke, so don't expect anything like me getting to 21st in the world again, or being world over 50 champion, a crown I shall be giving up very shortly, but with the best grace I can manage. Now, I thought this would be a good puzzle to do because Search 9 is a type of puzzle that is featured in World Sudoku Championships many times, and in similar competitions by the WPF. Codec, who is such a brilliant constructor, has given his own version of this called Search 8 or 9. And he didn't send it to us himself, it's been recommended. Codec is one of the most charming and modest people I have ever met. And very rarely recommends his own puzzles. But I want to have a look at this one, particularly because today is the day before the World Sudoku Championship begins. And we'll go through the rules in just a second. Do read them carefully if you're about to try the puzzle on your own. Don't forget, I guess we have still some time left till the 20th to get in answers to the Patreon challenge this month, the Skunkworks brilliant 6x6 collection, trick or treat, Halloween based, and that's on our Patreon site. Also, of course, try our apps. Line Sudoku's out. There's all sorts of others. This Search 9 type puzzle doesn't appear in any app anywhere, so try this one on the first link under the video if you fancy the sort of puzzles that that can turn up. It's a very interesting one. So let's go through the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. We're going to put 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. A digit in an arrow shows the distance to a cell containing an 8 or a 9 in the indicated direction. For example, a 1 points to the cell directly adjacent to it. Not all arrows are necessarily given. So if that was 6, you count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this cell would have to be 8 or 9, basically. That's what it means. It's a very odd, I've only seen it with Search 9 before. An odd genre. We get one given digit, thank you Codec, and I'm going to give this a try. Do have a go yourself on the first link. I'm going to restart my clock and say let's get cracking and see how we do. So, where do we begin? It's good with these to look at the arrows pointing to the shortest distance to the edge, because this one must be pointing to one of those two cells, as must this one. So that is a 1-2 pair. Just looking around to see if we have anything else of that style. This, I mean, oh no, here we go. There's another 1-2 pair. Yes, that's good. Yeah, not surprisingly, there aren't that many other arrows of that closeness to the perimeter. I mean, there is this that has to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, let's consider what this means for 8s and 9s as well. One of the 8s is there. Sorry, one of the 8 and 9s is in that domino. Another one is in that domino. And they're forming a diagonal pattern one way or the other based on which one of these is 1 or 2. I wonder if it might be useful to colour cells that can't contain 8 or 9. Let's try it. Because in this region, we know that there's an 8 or 9 there and another one there. And in this region, the 8 and 9 are confined here. So these can't be 8 or 9. Yeah, look, that is quite interesting. If you think about these arrows, they're very much constrained now. This, in fact, any arrow, I was going to say any arrow can't be an 8 or 9 itself. That's not quite true, because these ones right on the perimeter could be an 8, pointing to a 9 at the other end. But any arrow that is not on the perimeter is not 8 or 9. And now these are quite constrained. This is interesting. And this one is constrained because it's pointing up to this column. So this is either 1, 2, 3, or 5. But that can't be an 8 because this is not an 8 or 9. So that's green as well. So this is now 1, 2, or 3. And these two arrows are definitely pointing into this white space as well. So this one is 1, 2, or 3. It can't be a 3, and we've got a pair. This one is 2, 3, or 4, which is a little different as a selection. And two of these three arrows, possibly even all three, are pointing to the same cell. It could be all three, actually. If that was a 3 and that was a 1 and that was a 2, they'd all be pointing to that cell. Okay, I just need to be careful about what I'm achieving with the colouring. 8 and 9 must, in this column, be in those cells. I'm literally ruling them out of the green cells. Okay, I just want to make sure I know what I'm achieving here. Now, I could colour this green, because this arrow is pointing to an 8 or 9 in this group, but we know there's a diagonal pair up here, so there must be one 8 or 9 in that pair. There's a diagonal pair here as well. Ah, and this is not... I know that this is not pointing to the 8 or 9 in this diagonal pair, because it can't be a 1 or a 2 in the box. So that is pointing to one of those three. I might need to come up with some notation for areas in which there must be. Oh, but no, this is good in this row. There is one there because of the diagonal necessity of that being a 1-2 pair. And there is one there, and that's the 2 in row 8. So those are all not 8 or 9. Now this is pointing either to here or here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 in that cell, which is surprisingly specific. This one's interesting. It can't be a 1 or a 2 by Sudoku, so it's not pointing to an 8 or 9, which might still be there. I can't green these cells, because there might be an 8 or 9 there that this is not pointing to, but there is definitely one here that it is pointing to. So this is a 4, 5, or 6. This one is looking across those four. Oh, that's a 5 or 6 as well. We have a pair in this row. And the disposition, because one of these is a 5 and one of them is a 6, the disposition of 8 and 9 in this row is that one of them is not on the perimeter and the other is. So they're always going to be 7 cells apart. Now this was pointing to an 8 or 9 in one of those cells. This is pointing to an 8 or 9 in one of those. That's the 2 for the box. So there's no 8 or 9 in those three. So there is an 8 or 9 in one of these three, and there is 1 in one of these three. I'm going to do some sort of marking of, I'm not trying to represent one digit in one colour and one in another, but I'm just giving myself a clue of where I know. No, I'm not doing that. I've changed my mind. I can't decide. I'm going to just try and remember that. Now, this one only has 3 cells to point to. Ah, I know exactly where it's pointing. It's not pointing there or there, because it can't be a 1 or a 2. So it's definitely pointing here. And now we've got some actual action. That is an 8 or a 9, because that's being pointed to. This is a 5. That's a 6. This is a 4. Now we can start actually filling in, colouring cells that I can do this one, because I now know this is a 5. And now I've got lots of green I can do. Well, a little green I can do. This can't be a 4 by Sudoku. In fact, it's only got, oh, it's got 2 cells it can be pointing at, so it can't be a 3 anymore. That is a 1 or a 2. There must be an 8 or a 9 in this pair to make up the numbers for the column. Haven't got anywhere with those. I suppose I know this isn't a 5, so I'm going to pencil mark it 1, 2, 3, or 4. I've just had a very random thought. I believe that uniqueness of all things is telling me that one of these is going to be an 8. I'm not going to use this in the solve, and I hope I won't have to. But it suddenly occurred to me, I can kind of paste a lot of red cells into this grid and label them all as 8 or 9. How am I ever going to know which ones are 8 and which ones are 9? And I think the answer is going to be that an 8 or 9 has to turn up on an arrow to disambiguate that. And these are the only 2 candidates. But that's a kind of... I don't like to use that because, and the reason we don't use uniqueness is because what we are... As well as solving the puzzle, we're also spending our time proving it has only one solution. And the problem with using uniqueness is it presumes the puzzle has only one solution. And I don't want to make that presumption, because if I was to be doing a broken puzzle that had more than one solution, and I have done that live on camera and just got to the end and gone, well, it doesn't work, then I need to establish that. And I wouldn't necessarily if I used uniqueness. There we go. That's the explanation on uniqueness. Now, this is a 3. It's not pointing there or there. So, bingo. These are now not 3s. Surely we've got some information here. One of these is, oh, that's a 1-2 pair. So that's a 4. So we definitely have information. That's red. Now, look, this can't be a 1 and that a 2, or else we'd have 3 reds in this column. That one would be pointing there, that one would be pointing there. So it's the other way around. That's a 2 and that's a 1. And this becomes red because of that. And now we can green that cell. This isn't a 2. Therefore, yes, that does work that way around. Because I can't have 5 there, doesn't mean I can green that cell. But because that is green, does mean I can remove 2. Oh, I can also remove 4, because it's in the box. So this is pointing to one of those 2. I'm reluctant to mark that. Let's hope I don't have to worry about that. 2 there is looking at this cell. Oh, that's big. So we know that those 2 are red, those 2 are green. The reds are all 8, 9, remember. That's what they mean, but until we get one of these, we won't be able to disambiguate them. I love that, actually, about the puzzle. I think it's very funny. Now, what other arrows have we got? We've got these, which could obviously be pointing... they could obviously be pointing there, so they could be 2s, but they could also be pointing here, so one of them could be a 1, and they could be pointing here or here. I have just worked out they can't be pointing to these cells, because in this box we've already got our 2 reds. So these are selected from 1, 2, 5 or 7. Yeah, I was going to say only one of them can be a 2, which is a ludicrous thing to say, because that couldn't be more obvious. Now we've still got this X-wingy pattern down here to do. And that we haven't... Yes, we can decide on that because we've got the 2 reds. Oh, I could have worked that out before, but I didn't. Now, that's a 2, and this is not a 2. That doesn't mean this is a 2, because we don't have to be pointing there, I don't think. But we're getting lots of arrows filled in now, which is definitely the point. This one could be a 1 pointing there. Otherwise, it's a 7 or an 8. And this one could be, well, it could in theory be pointing to numbers 1, 2, 5 or 8. But in practice, it can't be a 2. So that is 1, 5 or 8. Now, could these be a 5-7 pair? Yeah, they definitely could. Oh, this one, I haven't looked at this little arrow in the corner for at all, really. Now, it's potentially pointing at numbers 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. It can't be a 6. That's the only number ruled out by Sudoku. I don't find that actually very helpful. I don't know where I'm going to get any help now. Is there Sudoku to do that I haven't spotted? There probably is. These are from 3, 7, 8 and 9. Let's just do a bit of pencil marking. This is a big digit, 7, 8 or 9, given everything it can see. Oh, of course, all these reds are all 8s and 9s. So that is actually a naked 7 because of the pairs it sees. Ah, that's interesting. So I can finish off 6 and 5 in this column. Obviously, I can't finish off anything till I disambiguate 8s and 9s somehow. But this might give us a bit more to go on. There's a 5 in one of those cells. This is a 3, 4 pair left in the row. 6, 2, 4. 6 is in one of those cells. Whatever this is in one of those two. There's a 2 somewhere here. I'd like to know whether that's a 1 or a 3. Have I missed something? I wonder. Sorry, are you looking at some digit on an arrow going, well, we know what that is, it's obvious? You might be. Okay, I was speculating that one of these would be an 8. What I'm at least going to say now is that they can't both be. Obviously, they can't both be 8s because of Sudoku. No, the thought I was having doesn't quite work. I was going to say they can't both be 1s because you can't put 2 reds there. It'd be really good to rule something else out. I tell you what I haven't done. I don't know which are 8s and 9s, but I can at least think about colouring them. And I'm going to think about colouring them because I could start here and make that. I don't know which flavour of red is 8 and which is 9, but I could colour them against each other in certain rows and columns. So there'll be a blue in one of those. That's an orange. There'll be a blue down here somewhere, and an orange down here, and a blue here. Is this going to go anywhere? Maybe it's not. No, I haven't, still haven't quite got enough to go on yet. One of these is an orange, isn't it? What's this? Do I know? I don't know how to divide those up. This one, come on, think about it now. There's there's just no factor within the numbers in the rest of the grid that tells you anything about 8 or 9 and which is which. It's frustrating me, that now. Oh, that's an 8-9 pair in the box, so that can't be 8 or 9, and this can't be 8. And now this arrow is pointing at one of those 3 positions. And if it was a 7, oh look, we've got a 3, 4, 7 triple. Oh, I can place a 2 in this box. Oh, that is brilliant. That's just classic codec. When you're just thinking about everything else, there's some beautiful Sudoku. Oh, that's clever. Right, now, that hasn't done anything for the arrows. It's got a lot more Sudoku done. Or has it? Well, look, there has to be a 4 in one of those 2 cells, because that's not a 4. So these can't be a 4, so I've placed 4 in box 1 accordingly. That feels weird. And there has to be a 7 in one of those two. So there's a 7 somewhere here. That's probably not very interesting. Any other 8, 9 pairs? Look, there is this one. 8, 9, 1, 2, 4, 5. So we've got 3, 6, and 7 to place. Okay, well, let's pencil mark them in, because then maybe Mark will finally spot a 3, 4, 6, 7 quad in column 1. And these are now from 1, 5, 8, and 9. And they definitely include 1, and they definitely include a 5 somewhere. This puzzle's getting odder as one goes through it. These are from 3, 6, and 7 in this column. And that forms a virtual triple with something here, which isn't that one. I don't know. I'm just faffing now. Now, yes, I was going to speculate that if that was a 7, that would stop this. No, it would make this an 8 or 9, and all of these couldn't be. And that would force this to be a 1. Which seems really interesting in its own right, but doesn't actually get anything solved. Oh, I've got a 3 there. Why can't I see the big black given numbers? I don't know. It doesn't do anything anyway, but it's just annoying that I can never tell where they are. I want to know more about these two. One, 2... Is this something to do with the colouring of 8s and 9s? Oh, I wonder. Oh, are there any cells? Yeah, look, there are. I've found one. This can't be an 8 or 9 because it sees both flavours, the orange and the blue, 8 or 9. That would be good to find more of those, but I don't think I've got enough certainty on 8s and 9s to do that very often. And I don't know that it really does any actual help. Oh, it nearly did. It nearly did. It nearly made this into the orange version of 8 or 9. I can't believe that we're meant to use the uniqueness issue, because Codec wouldn't set a puzzle like that. It's not his style. So I'm going to continue thinking around that problem, not straight through it. So maybe this one, which is a 1 or a 3. If it was a 1, there'd be a red here, and these would be green because there must be a red down here. So there'd be a red here if it was a 1, and that would become 7 or 8. Yeah, if this one is 7 or 8, it has to be pointing to the same cell as this is pointing to. And since they're 6 apart, those two digits would have to be 6 apart. So this could either be an 8-2 pair, or a 7-1 pair, or this could be 1 and that could be 2. Oh, let's think about this being a 1. Maybe that's interesting, because that makes this a 3. So then you'd have red cells in both of these positions. And what else does that do? What else does that do? I don't know, because you couldn't colour them still. Yes, what else it does if this was a 1 at the top is it makes this a 2. So that's red and that's red. I don't quite know where that goes either. Ah, this is so close to being done, I think. I'm still due to have one big insight, aren't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. I'm looking in row 2 here. 6. I just can't get this. Is it that is pointing to 3 or 4 or 7? 7's the suspicious one to me. Okay, let's just follow this through. This is fascinating. If that was a 7, this would be the 7 in box 1. And this couldn't be a 7. But that doesn't mean that can't be an 8 or 9. I'm so confused at this point. I thought this was all flowing along beautifully for me, and then we get stuck here. It's a very clever puzzle, though. I'm really, really very invested in this now. These cells are 4, 6, 8, and 9. So 1 is in one of these. What good is that? Nothing. Is there Sudoku that's relevant and that I can't tell is going on? Wow, this is driving me mad now. What on earth is it? And can you see it? Couldn't be to do with these 3 4s. I suppose if that was a 3, that would be a 3. Oh, and again, if that's a 3, then that's a 3. And then in column 1, no, I don't know. I just can't tell which. It's got to be to do with this stuff. It's got to be. Oh, and maybe these. If they were a 5, 7 pair. If they feature a 5, that becomes a 1 or an 8. And there is an 8 or 9 here, and there is 1 here. Those are definite facts. And I don't know if there's 1 here or 1 in this pair. Is there a chance I can colour these green because of these arrows? Again, I don't think that quite works. No, because that could be a 2. If that couldn't be a 2, I could colour these green. That's really bizarre because these would be pointing to 2 8 9s in this region that weren't those 2. So all 4 8 9s in the rows would be there, which is quite clever, but it's not happening. Ay, 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 ay. If that was a 1, then we'd have 1 here, and this, which couldn't be a 1, would have to be a 7. And that would be a 3. So if that was a 1, let's just mark what I'm thinking about. Then we end up with these places. Well, then you can't have a 1 in these cells, because you've got your 2. Oh gosh, could there be a Y-wing based on that and these 2? Oh, hang on, what's going on here? If this was a 7 and there's a jobby here, an 8 9 here, then that's a 3, but that makes this a 1. And this a 2. Oh, it works. It's all right. I thought we were going to find that those two were both trying to force extra 8 9s in column 7 at the same time, but I don't think we are. 3, and in fact, though it couldn't be a 3 and a 7 there, that is sort of how the Y-wing does work anyway. Oh, bother. But it's going to be something like that, isn't it? It's going to be 2 arrows which in one circumstance are forcing 8 9s into the same row or column where they can't be. That's what it's going to be. Why can't I see where that is now that I know what sort of thing I'm probably looking for? So if that's a 3, that's a 7, but that doesn't have any impact on the arrows, does it? You get 6 and 3 there. If that's a 3, that is a 7. It's quite interesting. If this is a 4, that's a 4-3 pair, and that's again a 7. Oh, I'm losing this now. I don't know where to go. I've been sitting at the same point in this puzzle for a ridiculous length of time. What's happening? What's happening? And why can't I see how it's happening? It's something very codec-y clever, isn't it? Let's just think about this being a 5. That would put red there. Now these could no longer be 1 or 5. They would have to be a 2-7 pair. That's quite interesting. So you definitely get reds in those cells as well as this one. This is all based on a 5 being at the top of column 8. 2-7, that would be red. So that would have to be red as well. Now, where does that leave us? And none the wiser is where it leaves me. I mean, there is a bit of Sudoku there as well. One of these would have to be a 3, but what good does that do? This is founded on this being, I know it was founded on this being a 5, wasn't it? I don't know that eliminating a 5 from that cell is going to help me. Maybe it would help to eliminate. I don't know, I'm getting so tempted to just use the uniqueness thing now, but I mustn't do that because I want to prove that this puzzle has a unique solution, and it's codec. It will have a beautiful and unique solution, and I just need to be good enough to find it. That's what I need. So we know there's a 1 in one of these cells. That's not going to help, but might as well mark it. I must be looking at the same thing again and again and ignoring it. I'm beginning to think now there is something very clear and obvious that I'm just not filling in. Ah, okay. If that was a 4, say, then there'd be a thing here and a thing here. An 8 or 9 here and an 8 or 9 here, and that would have to be a 1. And that would make this have to be a 3. So if that was a 4, this is a 3. That seems to work. This is the same ground I think I've been over before. Good grief. Why is it so difficult? There are ramifications all over the place. That being a 3 puts an 8 or 9 here. And that closes off the rest of column 7 to 8s and 9s. That feels like it must be significant. Oh, have I just fallen down on the job with the colouring? Is there more colouring I can do somehow? I don't know what colour this 1 or 3 is pointing to. I mean, I do want to, I just don't know. Blue and orange, blue and orange. I don't know how to do this. Could it be more obvious? Oh, it's maddening. I'm sure. Oh. 5. 5 is restricted to those cells in box 3. By Sudoku. The great god Sudoku, who looks down and mocketh me. I don't think that helps. Oh my lordy. Oh, for goodness sake. That's a 347 triple. I mean, what, 10 minutes staring, not seeing that? I don't know if it's going to help, because I'm not sure removing 6 from that cell does anything, but still, that is a painful fail. Now, there is a 6 in one of those two. Four. It has it restricted this a bit more than it was before? So if that is a 7, that's a 3, that's a 1, and this has to be an 8 at that point. So if that's a 3, that's where we are. Gosh, then this has become a 1. And this has become an 8, we're saying. That's true. So we've got reds in these positions. This is based on row 3, column 1 being a 3. And this is right so far. And we got an 8 at the top, which I think is actually very plausible. But it does mean that this next one can't be an 8. So if that's a 3, then we've also got a 7 down here. So that is red. Ah. But this can't be an 8 because that's an 8. So it's not pointing at this item. Oh, this is interesting. This is more interesting than anything I've looked at in a while. So it's this cell being a 3 that has given us reds in all of these positions. Oh my goodness gracious me. I've only just had the thought that if this is 8, that's a 9 and is also red. I just haven't done that thinking at all. Well, I sort of did it a bit here because I worked out that that was 6 different from this, but is that relevant? If this is 8, that is red. Colouring works, interestingly. Oh, look, this can't be 8 because the colouring doesn't work. That would be orange, but it would be pointing at an orange cell here. That cannot be 8. Wow, that has taken a painfully long time. Now, that is so clever though. It is so clever, because look what happens now. This is either a 1 pointing there and stopping this being a 1, or a 7 pointing there and making this a 1, which again stops this being a 1. So this is a 3. Oh, and we're unblocked. That's just extraordinary. 7 there, 3 up here. That 7 makes this not a 7. We've got a 3-4 pair. That is a 7. Getting something done here. These don't have a 3, and that's a 6-7 pair. Now, goodness, this had better get the job done, because otherwise, just going crying into my beer. That's an 8 or 9. 2 is in one of these cells. Not probably the most important thing. Now, if that's a 7, there is a 8 or 9 here. Yeah, if it's a 1, there's 1 here. So it's always pointing at blue. Is that interesting? No, I don't think it is. Again, though, I mean, one of these is a 1. I don't know how to use it. So we're not finished yet. I thought we were going to be finished when we got unblocked. Haven't finished. Done that 3. We've done everything, surely. Ah, look, we've got 2 reds in this column. So everything else in the column is now officially green. And that means you can't have a 1 in either of these cells. So we also don't have, I don't know, these aren't being pointed to, so it doesn't matter which one is 8 or 9. How about colouring on these? I don't see how to do it. Gosh, that took a long time. Now, let's think. Well, I think this is going to end up being an 8 because we need it to be for the uniqueness. So let's not maybe work on why it can't be an 8, because I think it probably is. Well, why can't it be a 1 or a 5? Maybe those would actually work. If it was a 5, there'd be a red here, and that would be a 2-7 pair, definitely. Putting another red here. Oh, man, I'm not there yet. What a puzzle. This is doing my head in badly. It's so clever. Those 2, come on, what about them? No, I was going to say, if they're only pointing to 3 red cells, and I don't know, I was wondering if I could colour these cells again, but I think that's an absolute fail of a thing to wonder about. Still can't see how to solve the puzzle. Oh, I was so clever about the... Oh, well, this has become green, I suppose, because it's not 8 or 9 as a possibility. So this is red. This is the second 8 or 9 in its column. That's actually quite important. Bizarrely. So these are green. Well, I mean, it's probably not quite important, but it's definitely true. And this is blue coloured, and that means this is not an 8 or... This is very important. This sees both flavours of 8 or 9. Gosh, so that's not an 8 or 9. That's 4 or 6, and the 8-9 pair on the diagonal are here, and this is not 8 or 9, and these 2 are green, and this one is 4 or 6. And that is being put the red in, otherwise they look wrong. There we go. So this is a 2, and that's a 1. That must help a bit. Now, that has become 8 or 9 by Sudoku and is therefore red. And I know it's an orange type red. The colouring of these 8s or 9s was absolutely crucial, which is weird to me. This has become a 2-1 pair. This must be red because it's the last cell in its box that can be. And there we are, 8 on an arrow, as predicted. Pointing at a 9 down here. And this one goes green. Can I finish off the colouring now? That's green. Not quite. That's green. No, I can't. Rows 4, 5, and 6, I can't. But I am now going to disambiguate all the 9s and 8s in the puzzle. Can I can't use the technique. No, okay, I'm just going to do them one by one. 8, 9, 8, 9, 8, 9. This one's 9, 8, 9, 8, and 8. Okay. So that's nice to fill in some digits. Now, what have we got going on up here? 1 is there. This is a 5, 7 pair. 4 and 6 not resolved weirdly there, nor 3, 4. Now, 9 has come out of those cells. And 8 comes out of these. So we still haven't completed these. They are definitely pointing at 2, 5, or 7. I mean, it's Sudoku now. Surely I can do Sudoku. I can't do anything else in this puzzle. 5, 8, 2, 5, 8, 9, 3, 1, 7, 8, 5, 9. Oh, where's this pointing? I can use that. It's a 3 in the corner, proving its position, because it can't be a 4. There we go. Set off the confetti. So these are from 2, 4, or 6. Or 1, 9, 3, 2, 8. These are from 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 7, 8, 1, 9. 2, 3, 4, 6. Pencil marking may yet be the salvation. That is 4 or 7. That, ooh, that's interesting. That's 4, 5, or 7. Interesting in respect of these. Still not finished. That is 6 or 7. That's 5, 6, or 7 in the other corner. I'm just missing an arrow that has been done now, probably. Must be. There cannot be anything hard left to do after all of that. I don't know. It's to do with these. These are the last unfulfilled arrows, as it were. If that was a 5, 7 pair, seems to work. If this is a 2, then you get 2s in these positions. I don't know I can't work out what's ever going to break after this point. Why would one version be wrong and the other be right after this? I'm struggling with that. I mean, it's fine for one of these to be a 5 and one of them to be a 7 because they're pointing to different columns. That's exactly what we want from those. Got a 9 to fill in somewhere here, but nothing's pointing at it. That doesn't really matter at all. Yes, it does, because there's an X-wing on 9s. There's still an X-wing. Oh, look, and there's just regular Sudoku to do. That's a 5. Okay, let's do that first. Then I'll do the X-wing on 9s in a moment, because I don't think I'm any clearer after clearing up that cell. 9s there means that is 9. And those are green. I don't think that proves anything. But are there more X-wings? There was one on 8s, but I didn't need it. 5, 4. So in this row, we can't have 4 there. We can't have 5 there. I've got a 6, 7 pair. This is 2 or 3 and must be 2. And that is Sudoku. So that makes that a 1, and now this can't be a 2, and this is a 5-7 pair, but I knew that, no, I haven't known that before. It doesn't really matter, I don't think, weirdly. Anyway, 5-7 pair makes this a 4, and it's going to finish box 3 and box 2. And I am maybe going to limp over the line in this puzzle, feeling unbelievably beaten up by it. Unbelievably. I mean, I really don't think it's this complicated unless you're me. Now, those can't have a 4. Still not finished, but I think I'm getting there now. Right, that's reduced everything to its possibilities. Now how do we decide which of these is a 5 and which of them is a 7? Oh, I see. It's going to just matter in terms of the numbers, is it? Somehow? I don't know how it can. So if this is a 5, that's a 9. 8, 1. And that seems to work. Is there some problem if this is a 5 and that's a 9? Yeah, that doesn't work. I don't even understand why. Right, here we go. There's only one place in this row for a 2. Oh, that 2 has resolved all the pairs. It's that, God, absolute muppet. Again and again. Right, let's just do the Sudoku and then finish off the colouring just before we do the last digit, maybe. That 6 takes 6 out of there. Okay, now we now have to do the colouring. Actually, let's do those. They're red and not white. These ones are only green. There we go. And this is pointing 5 cells away. This is pointing 7 cells away. And there we go. I mean, what a mess. That is not a 48-minute puzzle. You did it far quicker because you are cleverer than I am. And that is fine. Doesn't bode well for the World Sudoku Championship for me, but it does make for a very interesting puzzle that we've just done there. Thank you to Codec for creating that, even though I left a mess all over it. Great fun still. Thanks for watching and hope to see you again soon on the channel. Bye for now.